regular meeting of the Board of Education. Call the meeting to order at 6:30. Hand it over to you, Mr. Ryman.
Ready? All right. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. All right. Nice and loud.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. And our Pledge of Allegiance was brought to you by some of our Moraine kindergartners today.
Awesome. All right. Thank you. Thanks for doing such a wonderful job with the Pledge of Allegiance. All right. Next up is our roll call. I will turn that over to Ms. Meyer.
Okay, President McIntyre.
I'm here. Good evening.
Dr. Campbell-Voitel.
I'm here.
Treasurer Melissa Stewart.
Here.
I'm here. Karen Meyer. Secretary. Trustee Frazier.
Here.
Trustee Mabry.
Here.
Trustee Maurer.
Here. All right. Thank you. We are joined tonight by our superintendent, Dr. Weber, and our COLT team, our central office leadership team. I like to say best ever. Best in the business, best in Michigan, best in Northville. I'll just keep going. Next up, we'll start with our adoption of the agenda.
All right. Madam President, I bring motion 80 that the agenda be adopted as presented.
Support.
All right, thank you. We have a motion properly presented by Dr. Campbell-Voitel, supported by Ms. Meyer. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries 7-0. Thank you. Next up, we have our consent resolutions.
All right. I am happy to bring motion 81 that the board accept the consent agenda items for approval as follows. 5A, minutes of February 18th, 2025 Board of Ed meeting. 5B, minutes of February 18th, 2025 closed session meeting. 5C, instructional materials, adoption for English 10 and Honors English 10, the book titled It Won't Always Be Like This by Malaka Garib. And 5D, middle school course name change from Digital Journey 6 to STEAM 6.
Support. All right, thank you. We have a motion properly presented by Dr. Campbell-Voitel, supported by Ms. Stewart. For the public to know, the consent resolution items are items that we've discussed previously as a board, and so we submit these as just for a simple vote, that we've had conversation, dialogue, and so next up, we will take our vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you. Motion carries 7-0. Next up, we have our communications.
Yes, we've received communications at npsboe@northvilleschools.org. And I'd just like to take advantage of the fact that we have members of our community here to let you know that we do all receive the emails and we do all read them. So please do not hesitate to reach out at that email address with any questions or concerns.
Awesome, thank you. All right, next up, we have our Moraine presentation.
Good evening. Just on behalf of our students and staff here at Moraine, I'd like to welcome our Board of Education, Superintendent Weber, current and former Moraine staff, which we have a lot of here tonight, as well as our Northville community. For those of you that I have not met, my name is Joe Ryman, and I am the very proud principal here at Moraine. Tonight, you're going to get to see some amazing things. I'm just filled with excitement because student leadership is going to be at the first and foremost of what you'll see as you'll go around this evening. Our school theme this year is Habitland, as you saw on your way in, and you'll see themes based on the kids' game Candyland. We really work hard every single day to make sure that we lead with the 7 habits. And so Habitland has been kind of our mantra for the year. So to go along with our theme, I know the Board of Education in front of you guys have a donation of something sweet from our PTA, as well as with March's Reading Month coming in front of you this evening. We have a book donated to our Moraine Library on your behalf. In fact, a couple of you might have one of our student authored books. So one of the cool things at Moraine that our kids have an opportunity to do leading up into March's Reading Month is a chance to write their own book and have it be in our library. So that's something that's pretty exciting that we're ready for as well. So first, we really want to recognize what a special year this has been at Moraine. In November, Moraine was officially recognized as a 2024 National Blue Ribbon School. And for those of you that are unfamiliar, this is a prestigious national award that we don't go out and seek. The state of Michigan has an opportunity to nominate a specific number of schools, and they recognize the level of excellence that's been sustained at Moraine for a long number of years. And so as a result of that, it has been a lot of work, not just from certainly from parents and our community members, but our staff and our students as well for a very long time. So at the November awards ceremony, Dr. Weber, one of our amazing teachers, Miss Jennifer Frederick, and myself, we had a chance to connect with educators from around the country, get to represent our Moraine community and our Northville community, as well as hear from some amazing speakers like the National Teacher of the Year and our U.S. Secretary of Education. More importantly, though, than the award itself has been the journey that it's taken to get to this recognition. And so we have some of our fifth grade leaders that are gonna, when we asked our kids, what are some things that you wanna make sure that we speak about that we're proud of here at Moraine? Some of our students wanted to talk about that journey that led us into the, lead to the 2024 National Blue Ribbon Award.
We all worked hard towards the National Blue Ribbon. The students and the staff. The teachers have taught the students to work for the awards too. Everyone helped to make the school proud.
For our National Blue Ribbon, we all worked hard and trusted each other, staff and students and staff. We ended up being like one big family. We help every student become their best selves. If students are having a tough time, there's a room to go to in our school, and each and every class.
Hard work was a key trait for the National Blue Ribbon Award. Efforts were put in from many different people. For almost 60 years, we put in lots of work to get this award. At Moraine, we train students to become leaders with lots of effort. How did students help? With hard work, students simply practice good manners. They also have become student leaders in many different ways. Another unique aspect that helped us get this award is that staff focus on the inner child. This helps us get to know the students better. Our staff make sure that they don't reflect on how a student is from their grade. At Moraine, we want students to become their best selves, bring out the best in them, and go to their fullest potential. We care about all the parts of a student. This has left a positive impact on students of Moraine. Students have felt respected, also feeling comfortable with staff. So this is how focusing on the whole child helped Moraine get the National Blue Ribbon Award.
So before I introduce our next speaker, what I want to make sure that everyone sees tonight, that everything from the speeches that the kids wrote to the slides that we put together to the presentations that you'll see in the breakout room is all student-led components. Certainly with a lot of support from the adults, but one of the neat things about Moraine is we want to make sure that we prepare our kids for what's beyond these walls. And so in doing so, we wanted to invite back one of our student alumni. So I want to hand it over to Mr. Everett Witter, who is a former Moraine Penguin.
Hi, I'm Everett Witter. I am a freshman in high school, and I went to Moraine Elementary. I am really grateful for my time at Moraine, and I still use a lot of what I learned there. Like in second grade in Mrs. Frederick's class, I learned how to use computers, which has helped me a lot, especially during COVID. I was also introduced to play the trombone in fifth grade, which I still play now. I also learned how to use the 8 or 7 habits of highly effective people, which I still use today. This has helped me maintain good grades while being in band and 2 sports. I don't think I would have accomplished these goals without the amazing teachers and experiences I had here at Moraine.
Thank you, Everett. When we asked for our students to talk about what they want, were really proud of with their school, one of the things that kept getting brought up was their teachers and their educators. Committing to a life of service for others is an incredible gift. And the Moraine educators, every adult in the building shows up every day to make a difference for kids. So the National Blue Ribbon Award definitely represents not just 1 year, but as I was speaking to a couple of board members before the meeting tonight, it represents decades of work. Really something that started really even from the late 90s. And as a result of that work, there was a lot of late nights thinking about other people's children. There was a lot of encouraging kids that just needed that extra push, and certainly being there for each other. For those of you that work in the school system, you know how important that your school community is to you. So if you were wondering that what that special feeling in the room, we have a lot of educators, and we invited back a lot of our staff alumni tonight to help celebrate part of that National Blue Ribbon Award. And so it's neat to recognize that we have over 400 years 400 years of educational service in the room this evening, which is a pretty big deal. So would you take a moment and join me in recognizing the incredible adults that make a difference in the lives of kids? So if you get a chance to talk to them, they have really great stories. So I highly encourage that. So we have a couple more student presenters that want to talk about some of the current things that we're doing here at Moraine Elementary.
There are 6 safety jobs: bus safety, bridge safety, car safety, lunch and recess safety, substitute, and announcements. Each safety helps at our school and provides a helpful community. It makes the safeties feel more responsible and mature for middle school. When another student is arguing with the other, you may think, oh, that friendship won't last long. But here at Moraine, we try our best to figure a solution that works for both teams. We talk and make them friends again, and makes it a better and happier community. At our school, Moraine, we have 3 leadership jars. One of the communities are Leader Dogs for the Blind, Senior Citizen Centers, and CS Mott Hospital for Kids. You get a leadership ticket when you do something good, even though nobody was looking.
Peer pals. What are peer pals? Peer pals are when a student or a group of students go down to Mrs. Wagner's room to hang out with some students that see the world differently. You and your buddy can pick out a game and have fun for 15 minutes. This can make everyone feel included.
At Moraine, we do classroom circles. Classroom circles are a pretty important part of Moraine. Like, say your class is very loud one day. You can call a classroom circle to talk about it. For example, we took a school ride survey and we took it in classroom circle. These classroom circles help Moraine become one in what is best for us.
All right. So each of you should have received a colored ticket on your way in this evening. And so if you have a purple ticket, you're going to follow our purple leader. If you have a green ticket, you're going to follow our green leader. And if you have a yellow ticket, you're going to follow our yellow leader. And then we'll be back here after our presentations. All right, good.
Turning us back
Okay, we're
on.
good. All right,
I'm not on
perfect.
yet. Are we on?
All right.
Oh, yeah.
That's things to do. Oh. So we are, is it Friday?
All right, we're going to do some questions real quick from
Yeah.
our board.
Oh, I can't
So
wait to take you guys through there.
Wonderful. All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Ryman. What an incredible evening. I also want to thank our alumni teachers if they're still here. We forgot to thank them at our previous opportunity, but what an incredible evening and just what a special celebration. So definitely would love to start with whoever on the board has some questions for our Penguins.
I had a question about the peace path, and I know that's new, but I'm wondering, has anyone, have you all had a chance to actually use it yet? Or is it so new that you haven't had a chance to use it?
We haven't had a chance to use
You
it yet.
haven't?
Because
Okay.
it's so new.
I mean, I'm not wishing that you have conflict, but I think it's going to be an amazing way to work through that. So I'm excited for you guys to be able to use it then.
Who decides when the peace path needs to be used? Does an adult decide and take you there, or do you decide?
So you ask a adult if you have conflict with somebody, and they will take you there, or they'll have somebody else take you there and to help you.
And can you use it anytime throughout the day?
Unless you're like in the middle of a lesson, then yeah.
I think it depends. Like, if you finish your work or something and you really want to get it out, then you could do it, or like you could do it at recess or lunch or something.
How would you use it with somebody who's in a different classroom? I'm asking all the hard questions tonight.
it's on.
Maybe you could ask permission from the teacher in the other class, and they can maybe ask someone like a helper, and they can bring you there.
All right.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I see lots of messages about kindness all over your school, and I think that's a pretty powerful feeling. Can one or two of you maybe share a time where somebody showed you kindness that made you feel really better?
Someone showed me kindness when they came up and asked if I was okay when I was sad. They asked if I wanted to play with them at recess. I noticed people showed a lot of support to the people with disabilities. People show kindness all over the world, and it makes everyone feel good.
Thank you.
So I think the kindness kind of fits in with the peer pals that you were talking about earlier. I love that idea of you working with the other kids. Can any of you share some of the things that you have done with your peer pals?
We play like games together, and we talk back and forth and learn new things about each other, and it's really fun and interesting to learn all the new things about everybody.
Something me and my peer pal have done is play games and use this like whiteboard to draw.
We played games and kind of talked together, and we kind of had a lot of fun together.
My peer pal and I, we like to play Spot It a lot. Me and my peer pal, it was Veterans Day, so we wrote like letters to the veterans.
I wanted to expand on Kim's question. Has anyone here noticed someone who needed kindness, and what did you notice?
I noticed they were sad and they needed a friend.
I noticed that a few people who need kindness felt a little bit like lonely and upset.
A few months ago, I found a third grader on the buddy bench, and I asked him if he'd like to play with me, and we played soccer for a little bit.
First of all, I just want to thank you all for coming tonight. It was a wonderful presentation, so kudos to you for that. I'm thinking about the BTC, Building Thinking Classroom, some new lingo that I learned tonight. And what really struck me when we were doing that group work was that if you weren't holding the marker and also giving commentary. And so how do you think the fact that you have like a defined role, right? So if you're the one that has the marker, you're writing, but you're not brainstorming the ideas. And if you don't have the marker, you're the one responsible for brainstorming the ideas. How do you think that helps you become a better thinker about math? How do you think that benefits you when you're going through those concepts?
I think it helps everyone share their ideas.
I kind of think it kind of helps people kind of know like when to like when you're don't have the marker, you're like your brain is like thinking like what number should I do to write this number or something, and when you're writing it, you're like time to pitch my idea, like it's time to think, and then when you have the marker, it's just time to let it out.
You have to use the seven habits. You have to synergize, and you have to think first to understand, and then to be understood. Because like we can't have people interrupting each other, and they have to be talking, and you have to work together to do it well.
So do you think having the 7 habits top of mind as you're doing, new concepts, like mathematical concepts, it actually influences how you are as a student? So you're saying that you're utilizing something that we often think about with relationships, but it actually is impacting you as a student. It's interesting.
Jack, you wanted to add something?
Everything takes practice, and that should be practiced too.
Amazing. I really love the focus on how you've really been embracing the whole child here, that hearing from the 9th grade alumni talking about being in band and 2 sports. At the board table, we just in January, we had the opportunity to learn from the high school students what they're working on. And it's really cool to see how all of the efforts around Leader in Me and developing those relationship skills, the peace path, the kindness symbols, and building those thinking classrooms, you can really see how we're helping kids grow into being really successful middle schoolers and then high schoolers. So really huge kudos to all of you for all of these important efforts. I'm curious to know if we get to use the Building Thinking Classrooms for other curriculum. Is it mostly math, or do you use it for social studies ever, or anything else? I'd be curious to know about that.
We usually use it for math.
Foster, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, I think you could use it for any curriculum, as long as you're working with a partner and you're synergizing with them. Yeah.
Cool.
I agree with him. I just think it might be easier to use it with math, since it's like you have more options for different things than.
That makes sense. I was curious to know, just by show of hands, does anybody wish they had learned about the peace path sooner than right now? Okay, amazing. We're all in agreement with that. I think it's yeah, I'm excited to see how that ripples into the rest of our community and how we share that with other elementaries as well and the whole world.
I will say, when I was in elementary school 1,001 years ago, we had something called the peace pie, which was pretty similar. And that's one thing that I have always remembered from elementary school. So when you're my age in a long, long time, you're probably going to still remember this. And that's really awesome. And there are skills that you can take with you through your whole lives. Very cool.
Yeah, awesome. Anybody have anything else? All right, Dr. Weber.
Well, on behalf of obviously the board and everyone who's here, amazing. And I just listening to our kids more and asking great questions, by the way, BOE, that was awesome. And Principal Ryman, thank you so much for everything with the blue ribbon aspect. You're always very humble and speak about everybody who came before or everyone who does all of those pieces. And I think from a servant leader standpoint, always deflecting anything good said to you directly, pushing it right back on your people. But I have the privilege of knowing who you are as a leader, and you truly are a gift to this community and this district. And I'm really glad you chose to come up from Grosse Ile a number of years ago to join us. What I will say to everyone, we have our ABCD Awards coming up next. And if you would like to, I'd encourage you maybe stick around and see some people get some great awards. But prior to that, a little tradition we have here, if you would like to, you don't have to, but if parents and children want to go and stand behind the Board of Education, we'll snap a picture. That includes the Colt team, you as well, Joe. Yeah, come on up.
Yeah. Yep. Wherever. Cram in here. Yep. Just find a spot.
Sit in, guys.
Between us.
Scoot right in. Yep.
Moraine teachers, I know you're humble, but I need you to in this photo because this is a once in a lifetime opportunity here. Once in a lifetime opportunity.
Come on up.
That's me.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, someone took your.
Man,
We're all on the same.
thanks for asking too.
Yeah, you might share, no problem.
Get out.
Come on up. All right.
All right, smile nice and pretty, guys.
All right, this is a pretty remarkable picture. Big smiles. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great job. Thank you. Yeah, the hammer is pretty cool, huh? Yeah, it's pretty fun. Do you want to bang it? No. Okay. It's just. You kind of do.
Yes, he really does want to.
I know he does, but he was very polite.
Wonderful.
Amazing.
Yeah.
How much do we need to say and ask?
I really don't cheat at football.
I'll be the judge of that.
Right?
Did you guys do this football scenario? That was cute.
Yep. Yeah, that was really fun. Oh, I didn't see just.
We have quite a few. Are we all set? Lisa, are we
Yep.
all? We have quite a few tonight, so everyone's got their.
Yeah, we're ready to go? Yeah.
This is your home base. These are people you know. Like really.
Yeah, for real.
I think I would like some way to work it. Oh, we got some good ones tonight looking out in the crowd. Yay.
Yeah.
Hey, this makes me happy.
All right, those of you that are staying, thank you. We are excited to move into our superintendent report, which is
Yes, well, actually, we're going to go right into the A to the B to the C to the D. So ABCD Awards, fantastic. We'll let some people shuffle out here, but I know the board is set. And I know many of you have long-term relationships with some of our board members. So this is really a neat moment. In coming to Northville, I think it's one of the neatest things that I saw in the very first meeting I was in is recognizing staff. So we all set?
Yeah.
All right.
All right, let's roll. Do you want to do the introduction? Do you want me to? Okay. Yeah, we started the ABCD Award a few years ago to give recognition to staff in the district who really go above and beyond the call of duty. And these submissions can be sent in by students, by parents, by other colleagues. And it's really just a great opportunity for us as a board to celebrate all of the amazing efforts by the staff in the district or whoever receives these awards. So we will always take more. Please send them in. The first award tonight is for Miss Cecilia Brown. She's a first grade teacher here at Moraine. And there were two parents who submitted this commendation for Miss Brown. The first person says, Mrs. Brown embodies a perfect harmony of care, dedication, expectations, and love within her classroom. Teachers as a whole are often held to extremely high expectations and standards, and Mrs. Brown blows away any expectation or standard that is set and makes it look effortless. Mrs. Brown makes every child who enters her classroom feel loved and special. She truly is a gift, and we are better people for knowing her. The second parent says, Mrs. Brown has made a huge impact on my son's elementary school experience. She helped him grow into his strengths and gave him the confidence he needed to work on things that didn't come as easily. So thank you so much, Mrs. Brown, on behalf of the Board of Education for all of your contributions and efforts that enhance our school community. Is Mrs. Brown here tonight?
Oh, we need that. Right there?
Yes.
So this next person was playing bagpipes at the Ammerman.
Okay, I have the pleasure of celebrating the contributions of Jimmy O'Brien. He is a third grade teacher at Ammerman. Jimmy was nominated by two parents. The first parent wrote in and said, I've spoken with many fellow parents of his current class, and we're just so appreciative of how much effort and care he puts into making the classroom a place where every student feels safe, loved, encouraged, inspired, and excited to learn. All the room parents were so blown away by how well his students treat each other whenever we do have classroom activities. We know that kind of behavior comes from great leadership in the front of the classroom. And the second parent wrote, I've been so impressed with the positive and supportive environment that he has created for his students, the kind yet firm way he directs the class, and the care he takes with each student in working with their different needs. From donning full costumes for the Victorian Festival and Halloween to cheering on students at their weekend sports games, Mr. O'Brien truly goes above and beyond to show up for his students. I cannot overstate what it means to these kids to have such a dedicated teacher invested in their well-being and futures and how much a positive learning environment contributes to their success. And I want to thank you. I saw you. I got a chance to meet Mr. O'Brien at the Ammerman Multicultural Night, where he donned a kilt and brought out his bagpipes, and that was a great example to set for the kids. And then you shared a little bit with me about how you do it. And I'm so impressed to see your contributions in organizing it from a first-year teacher. That's just wonderful. So thank you very much.
Perfect. And this was his first full year with us. We hired him last year.
I know, right?
He was a long-term sub at Ammerman.
All right, I have the next one. Miss Frederick, a second grade teacher here at Moraine. Oh gosh, guys, this one's gonna kill me. Jeez. All right, Joe, I did this for you because I know how much you like seeing me cry. So, Miss Frederick has been nominated by a parent. Our daughter was a COVID preschooler, and sometimes emotional navigation, I can relate, is challenging for her. Miss Frederick takes time from her day to check on how our evening went at home. Okay. This has made a huge difference. Oh gosh, guys. Anyone? In our daughter's behavior, which in turn is helping our whole family.
Take your time.
I know. This, oh, gosh. This is something we realize not all teachers. Jeez Louise. Okay, just get up here, Miss Frederick. I mean, she's taught both.
Oh, sorry. I know you won't. Didn't even crack you. All right.
I have the honor of presenting the ABCD Award to Katie Grimm, the resource room teacher at Moraine. Katie, are you here today? Yay. You had 3 individuals write in letters for you. The first parent says Katie Grimm truly demonstrated exceptional commitment and care in her approach with our son. She took the time to connect with him on a personal level, making him feel valued and understood. Her willingness to go above and beyond included tailoring her support to meet our students' unique needs, fostering a safe environment where he felt empowered to excel. The second parent wrote, Mrs. Grimm has built such a strong relationship with my son. She is there for him in so many ways. She advocates for him, and she shows him how to be his own advocate. And a third parent writes, Mrs. Grimm has gone above and beyond to help my son excel and grow during his nearly 4 years at Moraine. She knows when to encourage him and challenge him to push himself. My husband and I have seen our son's confidence and independence flourish.
Okay, I am going to be reading the ABC Award for Molly Garcia. Is Molly here this evening? Oh, wonderful. Hello. She was nominated by a colleague, and the colleague said that she has been a huge asset to us at Ridgewood. She has provided so much support and has gone above and beyond to make her schedule work to be here when we need her. She supports so many buildings and yet finds the time to be where she is most needed. She tackles her very challenging role with such grace and positivity and is a very calming presence. When she comes into Ridgewood, the relief is palpable because we know we have an amazing resource to help the students that need it. So thank you, Ms. Garcia, for your help at Ridgewood.
I didn't know that.
There's lots of excellence being recognized tonight. And I have the last ABCD award to bestow. And I think it falls into the theme tonight that was expressed about how important the elementary teachers are in preparing each child for the next stage of growth ahead. And that it's more than what happens in the classroom, it's what happens around the child and sometimes deep into their homes and their neighborhoods and their community. And that's really quite an impressive level of commitment at the elementary, particularly at the elementary level. So with that intro, it is my great pleasure to recognize Miss Sarah Cox, who is a 3rd grade teacher at Silver Springs, and her nominator is a 6th grader who had her as a teacher. So this is 6th grade now. This student says, Miss Cox went out of her many times to make every single one of her students feel comforted and supported. When Miss Cox was my teacher, she did not only teach me math and science, she taught me how to be a good friend, how to apply myself to leadership roles, and most importantly, how to be a good example to my fellow students. I have learned from her how to chase my dreams and to lead by example. Miss Cox is an amazing teacher who I will forever be grateful for. So thank you. We are very happy to recognize you. Your outstanding work. I'm so glad you were here tonight to hear that. We have to go right back.
That was wonderful. I think everybody was here this evening to
know, I love
receive their
that.
award.
Yes. Yes, it was really nice to be able to recognize everybody in person for those awards tonight. Thank you for coming. All right, Dr. Weber, back to you.
What does it say that that the letters that are written and some difficult to get through, obviously, because of care for people, but my privilege up here is when they're reading. If you're here, I get to just see the look on your own face and the pride that you have in knowing that you earned that you made a difference in somebody's life, that they would want to send something like that in. And that is who we are. Thank you very much. Today we had a PD day. And so some questions and wonderings like, so what happens on those days? And today I had the privilege of being in 4 different sessions. But I would like to have Miss Brock and then Miss Santer explain that a little bit of what went on today. But in Miss Terry, who's the Ridgewood principal, who's here tonight with, I also see Katie Booth here. So the Wolfpack supports each other. And of course, Joe Ryman, there's Kelly right there. Lindsay, Miss Lindsay, fantastic. But really, I enjoyed the sessions. I went to the K2 Dr. Brock on ELA and science integration. And I also went to math PD run by our own coaches. But perhaps, Dr. Brock, you could speak a little bit behind the intention on that. And then Beth, if you could please speak to the CPI training. We use a lot of acronyms in our business. Sometimes people, it's hard for folks to understand. Thank you.
Sure. So this is truly the gift of time for all of our staff, built-in professional development during the day. It was a great day of differentiated professional development. As Dr. Weber said, our ELA and math coaches facilitated PD and also partnered with RISA, our ISD, to support learning at the elementary level. There was lots of time spent with colleagues around things like unit design and lesson design and resources. We also had a heavier topic for some of our staff around human trafficking, where we actually met with a special agent from the FBI, as well as a government official who gave us case studies, and it was very profound, very heavy, and we actually had some case studies that took place here in Michigan where staff members in schools saved people's lives, saved children's lives. So although it was very heavy, it was very needed and very powerful. And I will turn it over to Ms. Santer to talk about CPI.
Okay, great. So CPI stands for Crisis Prevention and Intervention, and it's something that you're going to hear about every year if you haven't already, because our staff is trained every year. So JD Keefe and our new ASD consultant, Mackenzie Simpson, are both CPI trainers, and they train our K-12 parapros every single year. CPI really focuses a lot on those prevention strategies and de-escalation strategies. And intervening in crisis in a nonviolent way. Now at Cook, we have 3 trainers. We have Paul Deschamps, Tim Schroeder, and then their new behaviorist, Lauren Gershman. And they train all of their staff every year so that we are always making sure that we're using best practices and making sure that we're doing a lot more with prevention versus reacting to crisis.
And I'd like to express the gratitude I heard today from staff members toward the board for putting that in the negotiation piece. For years before, they had 2 days in August, and that was it. And the simplest way I can describe, actually, Megan and I had a gentleman come up to our office Friday, and one of his questions was about PD days, like, what do we do? And if I can put it to folks who aren't in the education sphere in a way that perhaps is understandable where we live in Southeast Michigan, not investing in professional development or your time for your system to get better. So for instance, today, we had every elementary building together at Ridgewood. So all of the K2 teachers together in the same space, hearing the same thing, learning the same things, learning from each other. To me, it would be tantamount to Ford Motor Company cutting their R&D budget by 90% and then wondering in 3 years why their company is struggling. It's a human-centric business, if you will. And really one of the most profound ways that we get better is to be, as Dr. Brock said, together in space, focusing on topics that matter. Around the human trafficking piece, unfortunately, that particular topic is something that, as we learned even more today, that is very much in Michigan. I started the session by sharing my own story in my life, in which about 9 years ago, I am certain that I saw an instance of it. My gut told me that. I didn't have the training, I didn't have the understanding, and it haunts me to this day. I know what I saw. I didn't know what to do. So one of the things we learned about today was something called the Polaris Project. And that is, I believe, affiliated with the FBI and the federal level. And anybody can go ahead and punch the Polaris Project into your cell phone. I have it in my phone. I encourage you to get educated around that and to have that there. There is absolutely no harm in, if you're wrong, it's okay. But if you're right, profound. So thank you to the Board of Education for supporting that. The feedback from our staff has been phenomenal. I don't know if I should talk about the next thing because I got a lot of people with shirts on. I want to make sure you guys have an opportunity to speak on that end. Let me just tee it up for them for later. Next week is going to be an epically beautiful week in this district where we celebrate each child, and we do it with love, and we do it proudly, and we do it loudly, and it's fun, and it's good, and our people feel seen. But that's the only tee up you're getting from me. I'm not going to say what it is. If you can read from home, you'll see some of the shirts on there. So with that said, thank you so much, Joe. I don't know if for having us here to Moraine and the reception ahead of time for Blue Ribbon. And thank you so much to, I know Rebecca, Devin, and Brian started off today in meeting with the bargaining team from the teachers union. So it was just simply a get together and meet. So that season is upon us. And we've started that, and I just came in for a couple minutes there. And then there'll be some more information on the Friday about the coaching opportunities we talked about last week at the COW meeting for myself. So that'll do it. And thank you all. Thanks.
All right, great, thank you. All right, this is our first opportunity for public comment. I don't have any blue cards, so I don't think there's any public comments, but all right. Then next, we will move into our Hillside Middle School interim assistant principal.
Yes, this is very exciting. I'd like to bring forward motion 82 that the board award an interim assistant principal NASA contract to Kelly Moffitt through June 30th, 2025 as presented.
Support. Okay, great. We have motion 82 properly presented by Karen Meyer, supported by Melissa Stewart. Excited to hear more.
I can't wait to tell you more. If you don't mind, Kelly, where are you at? Putting you on the spot. If you'll come up with me here. We're in this together, and we're super excited. As you know, we did have an unexpected vacancy at Hillside Middle School for the assistant principal. And as luck would have it, we have a certified administrator that works as an art teacher for the last 4 years at Hillside Middle School. She is credentialed. She's worked with us at Hillside for 4 years. Prior to that, she worked in a district in Colorado. Oh my gosh, and she came here. Thank you. She came here to spend her time with us. She is a go-getter. She is that go-to person at Hillside Middle School. She has her hands in everything. She's in training to be an administrator, and she's showing her skills every day at Hillside Middle School for the last 4 years since she's been there. So I hear nothing but wonderful things about Kelly Moffitt. We're very fortunate that she is here and available for us during this time. With that said,
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, I was looking through, you sometimes like scroll through your camera rolls in the weekend, you're just looking and remembering things, some good, some bad. But there's a picture, Kelly, of you and Miss Campbell Voitel, Dr. Campbell Voitel, myself, I think Dan Ferreira. We were doing a walk around at the high school when you were doing your internship for that. And then I've had the pleasure to get to know you on things such as the grading committee, our school improvement planning and the MyKIP, and as well in our work with Beyond Equity in the cohort this year. So it's really neat to see opportunities come towards people who are interested and interesting. And being an art teacher as well, frankly, I think brings a perspective to the team that is wonderful. There might be times where I ask you to break the tension. We could do some kind of clay or something like that. That'd be cool. But genuinely, I saw Kim light up when I'd mentioned that, but you remember that day.
Really great.
And it's just thank you, as Ms. Peck said, thank you for assisting us at this moment in time. We're very grateful.
so with that said, I recommend that the Board of Education grant an interim assistant principal position to Kelly Moffitt.
I wholeheartedly agree. I have been on several middle school field trips with Miss Moffitt, and she makes things go very smoothly. So, yeah, 2 thumbs up from this middle school parent.
And I just want to thank you for taking this on in what's essentially March. So really appreciate you stepping up to the plate in this time of need on our end so that we know that the rest of the year will run smoothly.
I'm excited. We met during the bond study committee, and as we were, hearing about, over the last couple of days about this opportunity with you, I was like, oh my gosh, you have just this way of thinking about things. Also, you bring humility and some vulnerability that I think is really important with middle schoolers. So really excited. And I'll echo what Ms. Myers said. Thank you for stepping up in the middle of a school year. That it'd be really easy just to kind of ride through with your kiddos for the rest of the year. And I know that all of the Hillside kiddos have been your kiddos. So it seems like a natural next step. So.
Well, the whole leadership team in Hillside, I'm sure, will wrap you with all kinds of support and help you. I think the moment that we shared together at the high school, we were both new, weren't we? I was a new board member and just having my first tour, and I still have that shot that we took our selfie looking out over the big hallway. What is there?
Oh yeah, the Hall of Fame. Main
Street.
Street. Yeah.
Okay.
I want to call it the Hall of Fame.
Anyway, what a moment for both of us, and look at what time has brought us. So congratulations. So happy for you.
Okay. Any other comments? Let's make it official then. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. Welcome. Excited for you. All right, good stuff. All right, we can move to the next one, number 11, bid awards for bond 2023. I'll turn it over to you, Ms. Stewart.
I will bring forth motion number 83, that the board authorize the administration to award the following contracts funded through bond 2023. A, Environmental Maintenance Engineers, Inc. for Meads Mill Middle School asbestos abatement in the amount not to exceed $68,000. B, Meads Mill Furniture Phase 1 in an amount not to exceed $94,030.75, as outlined in the February 18th, 2025 TMP recommendation. And C, Ammerman Elementary Furniture in an amount not to exceed $188,557.22, as outlined in the February 18th, 2025 TMP recommendation as presented.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion properly presented by Ms. Stewart, supported by, I think, Dr. Campbell-Voital. And we will turn it over to Steve for more information.
Good evening. I know we went through all the information at the COW last week, so I'm just here to see if there's any additional questions from last week to today.
I really appreciated your explanation of the asbestos abatement. I know that that's been a question that's come up from the community about Ammerman. And so, for all of our one person in the audience, but maybe hopefully more people watching online, if you could run through that brief explanation again so that we can kind of point back to this and say, this is what we do and this is how we do it.
Okay. So we have surveys, asbestos surveys of all the asbestos containing material in the district. That goes back to a regulation that passed in the early 80s. So when we go through the design process in these buildings, we identify that asbestos containing material that's going to be impacted by construction. And then we actually go back and retest everything to verify in fact it is or in fact it isn't. Anything that is identified to be asbestos containing is abated before construction by the contractors that were awarded tonight. We have an independent firm monitor that contractor. They take air samples as necessary, as certain materials need air sampling, certain materials do not. So we have a third-party engineer review and monitor the work as it's going on. So, and we do it when staff and students are not in the building. So we've been doing this at least since I've been here. I mean, every construction project, this is kind of the process you go through to abate the material before construction. So we test, we log, we sample, and we abate.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Super helpful. Any other questions? Or I really loved your description too about how the furniture was decided, that it wasn't just, look at a catalog and make that decision, that it's such a thorough process, asking staff, asking students. So really appreciate your description of that last week too, just telling us just how that works and how we came to this conclusion. So super excited to see that we're at the phase where we're buying furniture. It's like that's the sign that we're closer. All right, let's move forward with a vote. Okay, all in favor of moving ahead with this bid award? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you.
All right, I will move on to the next one. I'll bring forth motion number 84, that the board authorize the administration to award the following contracts. A, fiber maintenance agreement with AmCon Inc. totaling $78,400 per year for 3 years, funded through the general fund. B, fiber network upgrade with AmCon Inc. totaling $2,648,653, funded through Bond 2023. C, structured cabling systems with AmCon Inc. totaling $90,650, funded through Bond 2023. And D, desktop and laptop purchase from Inacomp TSG totaling $1,093,732, funded through Bond 2023.
Support.
All right, great, thanks. We have a motion properly presented by Ms. Stewart and supported by Mr. Frazier. Andrew, we'll turn it over to you.
I'm really excited to finally get the fiber network upgrade off the ground. This will take quite some time to get going, but if we measure twice and cut once, especially with fiber, we want to make sure that the upgrade is successful and it will give us the infrastructure that we need for quite some time. fiber lasts a very long time, but it's outside. It's in the elements. It does degrade, and some of our network is incredibly old. So I'm really excited to get this off the ground. This will be filed under E-rate. So as long as the E-rate program is sustained, we will be able to get money back on it. And then the next part is the fiber maintenance, which is just basically subsidized by E-rate also. And that just makes sure that, if there's any issues, they will fix it. And if there's anyone who does like a misdig lookup, that they will come there and they'll mark it to make sure that we don't have our fiber cut. And then the laptop purchase. This is a great upgrade for of all the desktops in the laptops the students use. We're upgrading those. The year prior, we did all the Chromebooks, and then we did the staff laptops. So we're just kind of doing them in the manageable stages.
Awesome. Questions, comments?
Anybody with a student at the high school is always happy to hear that there's network upgrades. I know that this isn't necessarily a high school related upgrade, right?
Oh, the laptops are. So we're the desktop labs are getting moved to laptop labs to increase a little bit more flexibility. So when we renovate the high school, those rooms will be configured a lot differently.
It was really helpful for me to have heard last week the reminder that our servers are actually housed at Wayne Risa. That's not correct?
MyStar is.
MyStar. Okay, sorry, the MyStar server.
MyStar and Smart, which is our purchasing system,
Yep.
is housed at Wayne Risa, but all the other data is housed here at Hillside.
Okay,
That'll be next probably another 6 months. I will be presenting a server upgrade for you. So.
Okay, but helpful to remember that MyStar isn't on site, but we
Mhm.
need to connect to that. So that's
correct.
It's a long distance of a cable.
And I think President McIntyre, the piece is though the fiber hub is Wayne Risa, correct? Or where we get
We're leasing the fiber from AT&T, and with this project, we'll be have a
That's it.
direct run to Plymouth Canton, and then they have a home run to Wayne Risa, which is
There
our
we
internet
go.
service provider.
That's what we're thinking about.
And Dr. Weber, we have a grant opportunity for that leg to be covered with a state grant.
I just think this is a good reminder of all the things that school districts are responsible for. Because it's something that we wouldn't think of. We would definitely notice if it wasn't working. But it's just something that maybe doesn't come to mind. You know, we think of playgrounds and teachers and all the wide scope of things that school districts have to be responsible for maintaining. So I appreciate all the work that has gone into it and looking forward to these upgrades.
Thanks for pointing that out, Ms. Meyer. If you think about it, we have the documentation, we're reading it. So we're basically replacing or working on fiber that was laid in 1990. So you think from busing to food to connectivity to equipment to, and that's where every penny that can go towards public education should go towards public education because of the wide range of services we provide for each of our students. And there's another example of it right there. And we're privy and the public can see all this as well, but when you see this stuff isn't free to do computers, fiber, all of that takes a tremendous amount of resources and expertise. So thanks for noting that.
I think it also reminds me that we have an accountability primarily to our students and their staff, but also to our taxpayers. So this is due diligence on in the care and upgrading, the necessary upgrading to our infrastructure that is been made possible by our community and the people who are paying taxes. So I think it's important to acknowledge that and know that we're being good stewards of that money.
Yeah, appreciate that reminder. Yeah, these are all bond 2023 funds, right? So when we look at that, just to underscore for the community, it's $2.6 million for this fiber network upgrade. That is a big nugget, but so important, right? If we're replacing fiber cabling or fiber network, if I'm using the correct term, from 1990, so that's 35 years ago.
Well, some sections are from 1990, like Amerman and Cook. Some of the other sections are newer, but are over 20 years old.
But they're not new. It's not like we're replacing them every 5 years, right? This is a long overdue. This bond was really focused on long overdue infrastructure upgrades. So this is included in that. Cool. All right, let's go ahead with a vote then. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries 7-0. All right, let's move on to number 13.
I can go forward
Over
with
to
that
you.
one. I'd like to bring forward motion 85 that the board approve policy 2120, student enrollment, children of employees, and board standards of practice for first reading as presented.
Support. All right, thank you. We have a motion properly presented by Ms. Meyer and supported by Ms. Mauer. Rebecca.
So this is one of two that we're talking about tonight. This one being a policy, the next one being the standards of practice. Had lots of great conversations, 2 COW meetings where the Board of Education had some conversations about student enrollment and children of employees. This is a policy that we've had in place for a long time. We are school of choice only as it relates to children of employees, which is regulated by the Michigan School Code. The item that I'm requesting the change for, as we discussed, is really to shore up that language so that we can make sure that we can include our MHSAA head coaches who beginning next year will all be direct employees of the district. And as we had discussions about the benefits of that at COW, this policy reflects that desire.
Great, thank you. And then same thing with the board standards of practice that we've looked at them, redlined them, revised them. And yeah, they've been refreshed. I think the last time we looked at that was 20 or
So the
2018.
last time they were the standards of practice, which is just kind of an operating procedure, how you all will work together and consider the roles that you have and how those work together. The last time it was updated was actually 10 years ago by the board. It was reaffirmed in 2018. So it definitely, based on some of the changes that were made, it definitely needed some refreshing based on how the world works now 10 years later.
Yep, for sure. Thank you. And thanks for bringing that to us, that with 3 new board members, making sure that we have the opportunity just to really be mindful of how we work together to support our students and our staff and our community as a whole. All right, let's go ahead and take a vote then on this. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. All right, next up, we have 25 and 26 early childhood tuition rates.
Okay, I will bring forth motion number 86, that the board approve the 2025-26 early childhood education and extended day program rates as presented.
Support. All right, thanks. We have a motion properly presented by Ms. Stewart, supported by Ms. Mauer. Any discussion about this? I know we talked about it last week a little bit in our COW meeting.
We did. The preparation and presentation from the early childhood leadership was quite detailed and emphasized that very deep dive, a very close look at competing tuition rates and competing institutions or schools in the area. So we understand, in addition to our peer districts, so we understand just how we're positioned financially and what is a reasonable charge for families. It fits into, what is the standard in our area, I think. So I think that was the underpinning on the budget that they proposed and the projected costs that will be charged for the many different kinds of programs that are available through early childhood.
Yep.
So that's notable that they provided us with extensive detail.
Thank you for mentioning that. So they gave us a great presentation on that, and also how the programming is driven by what they see the community wanting and needing. And we understand that we don't want to have to raise costs, but to maintain a competitive rate with what is happening in other programs, and as well as making sure that we are providing the best service possible for young learners. I think this is a step in the right direction. So I appreciate you highlighting that.
Yeah, for sure. And thinking about high scope and all the other additional services that are available to students who attend our early childhood programming it's pretty phenomenal.
I will be abstaining from this vote due to a conflict of interest. My wife works in preschool.
All right, thank you. All right, let's go ahead then with our vote on this. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries 6-0. All right, next up, we'll move ahead to our 2025 Michigan Association of School Boards Board of Director election. I will turn this over to you, Ms. Mabry.
I am pleased to bring forth my first motion, number 87, that the board elect candidate Paul Colin for the MASB Board of Directors for a 3-year term as presented.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion properly presented by Ms. Mabry. Congratulations on your first motion.
Thank you.
Supported by Ms. Meyer. Would love to hear a little bit more about, and we talked about this a little bit during our COW meeting, but just for the public, can you tell us a little bit more about how we kind of landed on choosing this candidate?
This year was a big year for candidates for the MASB Board of Directors. We had 8 candidates to choose from, and they had each put out statements with their relevant experience and what they'd like to see as a Board of Director. 4 of them had interviews that Kim and I, or Dr. Voitel and I reviewed. And we chose Paul Colin. He is from the Bloomfield Hills School District, which is very similar to our district compared to what the other board of directors were from. And he has relevant experience. So is there any other discussion? Anyone like to? No?
No, I think, yeah, you really identified his length of experience and that, he's not a new board member. He's been supporting that community for quite a few years and also has been really involved with MASB. So makes sense. Any other discussion?
Nope.
Okay. All right, let's go ahead with a vote then. All in favor of supporting Paul Colin as our candidate?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Any added agenda items? Okay, thank you. Any public comments? Second opportunity. Okay. Next up, questions, comments from board members.
I have kind of a lot to say about the latest Wayne County Association School Board meeting. So if anyone else
Okay.
wants to go before me, I do not mind.
I have something very small. I was going to announce the winners of the chili cook-off over the weekend. It was an event in our community, and I think that in general, let me just preface this by saying I attended my first DDA meeting as the liaison from the school board. So now I am valuing the kinds of events and activities that are offered in our community in the downtown area. And I just, beyond the budget review that we did celebrate the attendance of more than 1,000 people. And the Great White Buffalo came in first for their chili, and Los Tres Amigos was second, and Pizza Cutter, surprisingly, was third. So, but the final thing that I wanted to say in front of your probably much more substantive comment
Well, no, go ahead.
was the competition between our 2 respective fire departments, the city and the township fire departments, had a kind of a personal cook-off event. And in the DDA meeting, there was quite a bit of exuberant celebration for the fact that the city fire department beat the township fire department's chili. So for any of you who went to eat chili this weekend, it was a wonderful weekend, and the weather cooperated. So that's my DDA, my very first DDA report. So.
I had a couple of questions for Dr. Brock. I know that you mentioned the training for the PD Day, and I was wondering, are our educators mandatory reporters?
So that's a great question. Yes, and every year we do Safe Schools where staff has to go through training again to kind of go through the reminders of the indicators, when you call, when it's appropriate, but we are,
Okay.
yes.
And then I had a question about committees. I see the wellness committee is starting in March. I know everyone is very excited about that. And then I was wondering what the plan is for beginning the long-term planning committee for ALPS.
So at the end of this year, we'll probably send out an interest form like we did before. And then, if we get a lot of interest, we'll probably do a lottery process again, which is fair, to get multiple stakeholders on the committee and also have all buildings represented.
Okay, and sorry for my ignorance, but the end of the year, is it the end of the school year or the end of 2025?
Oh, I'm sorry, end of the school year.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. That's it for me.
Go ahead. No, I had a couple quick things. One, I bet everybody's really excited about the NEF Glow Gala on Saturday night. Neon, Killer Flamingo, sounds like they had an awesome show last weekend with the chili cook-off. So I hope everybody's gotten their tickets. If not, I think you still can get those. Seems like it's going to be a really fun night. I'm excited to see everybody there and support our students. Also wanted to just reflect on our ongoing development as a board. Hopefully everybody saw the doodle from Megan for our day that we're planning for a board retreat. Just a reminder to just respond to that. That would be great. And also supporting Dr. Weber with some ongoing development, professional development. We can always get better, right? We all want to get better. We've talked about as a district that we see that we're really knocking it out of the park here in Michigan, but how do we continue to stretch ourselves so that we can, play kind of on that national stage and a regional stage. So excited to see kind of where we can move us forward through these upcoming opportunities. And I think those are the two things that I had on my mind.
You guys think I'm going to talk for a long time?
I'm jumping in. I forgot, between our last meeting and this one, I attended my first Parks and Rec meeting. And it was very informative, I think, for myself to learn a whole new set of acronyms. So I had lots of questions about, well, what does this mean? And what do you do here? And they were like, oh, bring Jim back. No. So it was a really good meeting. There was a lot of discussion about the new building at 7 Mile and Legacy Park updates. There were some talk, which I found very interesting for our schools, talk about walking paths along 7 Mile. Sorry, in between 6 and 7 Mile, like to have a sidewalk all the way along there. So that's something that is in like the future planning. I think for our schools, that would be really nice to have some safe walking paths along there. So
Connects to Mayberry?
yes, that is the plan, is to get it to connect all the way to Mayberry.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, which would be pretty amazing for a lot of people. So
I keep wondering too about that sidewalk connector on 6 Mile, a little bit, west of Beck. That it's really impossible for any students from that 6 Mile and Beck neighborhood to walk to the high school.
I will make a note of that and see what I can bug some more people with acronyms and all sorts of.
Has anyone heard any positive feedback around the left-hand turn light at Sheldon and 6 Mile? It's working now?
I will say today I was at the high school, I think 3 times, and I loved it. I mean, if you know that if you're even like the second car, it feels like sometimes without that light, you're not getting through. And so brilliant. So for everyone who kept on doing whatever you all did to get them to do the right thing, thank you.
Thank you for bringing that up, because there was years of discussion on that.
For sure,
although
for
it seems
sure.
like it was anticlimactic after we got it. So yes.
Yeah, no, I just want to thank previous board members, right, that really started to kind of light a fire under that and really work with the township and community members, right, and to work with the township and to work with Wayne County. So happy to hear that we're feeling the effect. I don't currently have a high schooler, so I don't get to experience that, but I'm really glad to hear that positive feedback.
And I just had a question. Does anyone in a t-shirt want to go over what Inclusion Week is?
Did you want to
Go for it. You can.
Oh, just because
Go for it,
okay.
yes.
Well, next week is Inclusion Week. As everyone knows, we are a unified school district. So throughout the week, there will be activities where all are involved and included. Someone remind me though, what is the highlight event? Because I know some things are moved
I was just going to
around.
look. Yeah, I think that there is there's the basketball game, there's a
pep rally.
pep rally, I believe, on Friday at the high school.
Yes.
Yeah, the end of the week pep rally basketball game is just epic. If it fits your schedule, I highly recommend.
It's Thursday at Hillside. The 6th of March is the unified basketball game.
Okay.
When's the pep rally?
One at the high school.
Pep rally must be
Friday.
I think it's on Friday afternoon.
For the schedule.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see all the different colors. I can't wait to see some of the videos from the district with all the different colors from all the different schools. So really excited to see how that comes together. I know that our communications person has, I'm sure, some amazing things in the works. So can't wait to celebrate all of our students and just really appreciate Kelsey McKitchick and all of her spearheading of that programming to just increase that ripple effect across all of our schools.
And I could go ahead and take you through the run of show for the week quickly. Monday is self-acceptance and PJ day, so come as you are. So roll out and come on in. Tuesday is diversity. That's Jersey Sports Day to be part of the team. Wednesday is disability diversity, superhero day, showing your superpower. Thursday is tolerance, red, pink out because kindness matters. And then Friday, inclusion. And we have several models wearing the shirts. Inclusion shirts and or Spirit Day, choose to include is the theme of that day.
So I think we should all be extremely proud of what's going on in this district around inclusion. It stands for so much more than just that one word. It spreads out in every direction. This is a difficult time. We need to keep feeling the unity that we have here in this district and our commitment. And I know that there's been some board members that have spoken eloquently about this, but I just felt like I needed to say that. We're solidly committed. There's nothing turning us away from that.
And I think it's a really nice tie-in to the presentation we got from Moraine today about kindness for yourself and others, taking that peace path.
Mm-hmm.
So it's wonderful. I mean, we should be extremely proud of the fact that we are a unified district and have this opportunity to celebrate all of our students.
Yeah, I always like to say, you belong.
Yes, absolutely. To me, it's belonging, inclusion. That's what we're about. Every student who walks through our door deserves to feel like they belong here, and they do belong here. And same for our staff, and same for any parent that walks into the building. That I hope that parents also decided to buy their inclusion shirts. It really isn't just for kids. It continues to support what we're doing for our community. The ripples are hopefully extending.
And just speaking of tonight's presentation, one of the students in the Peace Path presentation talked about seeking first to understand, and that has always been one of my favorite phrases: seek first to understand, then to be understood, and how perfect that goes along with Inclusion Week coming up and really understanding, who everybody is and what they're about. What a great tie-in.
To think back to the city awards night, or the Northville Awards, when Rochelle Vartanian, and I know we talked about this in one of our recent meetings, but one of the things that really stood out to me as she gave her acceptance speech for her Citizen of the Year award is that she wasn't sure if Northville was going to be the place to be with her kid, with her experience of trying to grow this program. And she talked about one of her first times in Northville. She was sitting at a restaurant, and the kiddo that she was with was being kind of noisy, and the people around her were like, "It's fine, no big deal. We're just all enjoying our meal." And I think that, to me, captures what Northville is all about, and that is how this inclusion continues to grow and welcome more people to our community. Okay, anything else? All right, Karen.
All right.
We're ready for your
Okay, I'll try
novel.
to make it brief. Yeah, okay. So first of all, I want to caveat is that when I'm talking about the update, the legislative update, all those things are in flux, right? I mean, since we had the meeting, I believe there's been the bill change in terms of the sick days and all of that. So, and minimum wage. So this is all in flux. So I just want to say that, right? Everything is just what the information that I'm sharing that's relative to that is just relative to what was shared at the time of it being shared. And that's you know how things move. They're real slow or real fast, right? So the first thing was there was a group of 15 members from the Wayne County Associated School Board. So that's school board members from around Wayne County who attended the National Association of School Boards Advocacy in DC. So everyone really enjoyed it as usual. And our own Jim Petrie, who is a former NPS board member, he attends yearly. And he is also now a Wayne County Association School Board board member, Wayne County board member. And so he reported on his time there. They got a lot out of it. They saw, a variety of different speakers. They most notably the National PTA presented there. So I thought that was really interesting. They enjoyed their presentation. It was about getting kids' attendance up in schools. And one thing that he did note, though, was that he's been, going there for years. He said that this year of significance is that the Department of Education was not involved, and there were a lot of representatives that didn't have answers. There were a lot of questions. There was a lot of unknowns. So they met with the federal members of Wayne County, of the House. They also, with the entire Michigan delegation, saw both senators and got an opportunity to hear from both of them. And so he just noted that was different than previous times that he had attended. Mike Latvis from Wayne Risa, who is our legislative representative, he gave an update from the state. He said that right now the governor's budget that's being proposed would be an upgrade per pupil allotment, and it would also give a 4.1% increase to the weighted populations that would be like your special ed, rural, and so forth. However, there is also some talk about utilizing gas tax money to instead of coming to schools to go fund the roads. But he cautioned from getting too far ahead of our skis, both in terms of the governor's budget and in terms of how far any sort of road proposal would go. He said the one thing, though, that he felt pretty strongly in, and I think that Mike's been in the game for a while, is he said that he did not foresee a budget before September, which is not great news for us because we have schools to run, and that doesn't start in September. We got to start planning now, right? I know that was so. Unfortunately, he did not foresee that. We currently have a split Congress. Our House is in Republican control, and our Senate is in Democratic control. And unfortunately, sometimes that makes making budget decisions more difficult. So he does not. He would love to be wrong. He's not here to speak for himself, but I'm going to speak for him. Mike would love to be wrong in this area, but that is what he's thinking of. That is going to happen. He said, in terms of also federal discussions about the federal budget and what we can foresee, he said that, and please, if I'm misspeaking, he said that payments for 2025 would already have been given out in terms of IDEA and title funding. He said, don't react before things actually happen. We have to respond when things do, but don't just be assuming things are going to happen before they actually happen. He said that, sorry, my notes are all over the place. He said that if the concern is that the state of Michigan gets $2 billion, like 9% of the budget comes from the federal government. So if there was a reduction in funding from the federal government, any increases that we would get from the state would just be used to backfill monies that we've lost from the federal government. So just being aware of that. Going back to the NASB advocacy days in DC, the things that they advocated on were expanding free and reduced lunch, IDEA funding. Oh my goodness. I mean, having done this myself on behalf of the BTA, I feel like every time we would always ask that the federal government finally live up to their promise of 40%. I believe it's at like 13 or 14%. So that's like a mandate. If you are representing public education in any way, I don't think you're allowed to go to DC unless you advocate for increased IDEA funding. And then keeping or increasing title funding, and then supporting broadband access. And lastly, but certainly not least, was cybersecurity. We got a presentation by a South Redford school board member. As you may or not remember, they were hacked in the fall, and they lost 2 days of teaching and learning. They got a lot of negative publicity, and they had to kind of navigate how this would work out with ND after they were held for ransom. They still do not know what happened. But what they do know is that they lost $180,000 in 2 days. They did get it back, but their insurance went from $9,000 to $30,000. And that was only after they got a $15,000 discount for training staff on cybersecurity safety. So to me, it just highlights how important it would be to get state and federal support in these areas, how vulnerable school districts are. I asked the question when she was giving her presentation, do you know what happened? Do you know what went down? And she didn't. I felt like I was blaming the victim, and I don't mean to, but we all want to think, oh, how can we protect ourselves? What can we do? And I know that we're doing everything possible to keep that from happening, but school districts are vulnerable just by the means of, and all the data that we have, and whose data we have. We have minors' data. So I think it's so important that we keep pounding the drum on making sure that our students have the best access to, or our school districts have the best access to the best cybersecurity possible.
Absolutely.
Let me see if I have anything else. I don't want to leave anything else. The upcoming meetings for the Wayne County Association of School Boards, they're going to have classes. So March 15th, there will be classes for Wayne County school board members if they want to take classes there at Wayne Risa. And then after that, in April, they have the awards ceremony for people who accrue those points, those MASB points. Those are like your local kind of points that you would go for. So does anyone have any questions for me regarding anything that I've said? I'm sure I've left something out. I know that those reports that we get weekly from the MASB kind of will help give an understanding of where things are, especially I think the governor is giving her state of the state later this week.
Tomorrow.
Okay, well, there you go. And so that will that obviously will show us what direction she's leaning towards. Of course, it's got to go through the budget afterwards through Congress, but one step at a time. So does anyone have any questions or anything? Okay.
No,
It was a great meeting. It was very informative. I always enjoy getting to hear from other school districts and what's going on there. And I do really appreciate the school board member from South Redford willing to be vulnerable enough to share their experience there, to just keep it as a reminder how important it is.
Absolutely. Thank you. Amazing summary. I think I did see also that MASB is offering their own webinar on Thursday to kind of summarize what the state of the state address gives us related to education and public schools. So I don't know if anyone's going to tune into that. I think
Noon to 1.
Yeah, noon to 1. Sorry, are you going? Planning on going? Okay, cool. I think I have it signed.
Looks like Ron is.
As well. Okay, great. Looking forward to hearing that update too. All right, anything else? Okay, I think that's it. We've gotten to all of our things. All right, let's call us adjourned then at 8:49. All right, oop, it just turned 8:50.